Layla is having a bad day as she lies in the hospital, getting her injured ear treated. The pain is excruciating, and she feels every stitch, making it hard for her to differentiate the physical agony from the emotional one. Her current boyfriend, soon-to-be ex, caused this pain and deceived her, which is just too much to handle. As Layla cries, the doctor notices and is taken aback. He suspects that this is a situation. He is not new in the practice, and he sees such cases daily. He offers to contact the police, but Layla refuses. The situation is complex, and she's not prepared to involve the authorities yet. Her fury is palpable, fueled by the depth of her hurt and the sense of betrayal that consumes her. The pain he's inflicted, the sacrifices she made, and the emotions she's invested are all boiling over. She remembers how she defended him, even in the face of her parents' disapproval, and fought for their relationship despite opposition from her friends. Yet, all of her efforts were met with nothing but deception and agony. Despite her determination to keep their relationship intact, her loyalty and devotion have transformed into fierce hatred. She's intent on making him feel every ounce of the suffering he's caused her and more. He'll soon regret ever crossing her, as she's planning to inflict such agony upon him that he'll beg for mercy. As she considers her options for revenge, her inner rage intensifies. He'll realize that he should never have taken her for granted or underestimated. He will surely regret the day he ever hurt her, and she'll make sure that he never forgets the consequences of his actions. Layla emanates a natural poise and beauty that mesmerizes those around her. She is from an affluent family and is propelled by a fierce desire to accomplish all professional success. However, Layla, deep down, has a romantic side that believes in fairy tale endings with the perfect Prince Charming by her side. Working alongside her father in their construction business, she is also a part-time model and an artist. Despite her imperfections, Layla doggedly pursues success and love with the unwavering support of her father, whom she trusts completely. She is steadfast in her quest to fulfill her aspirations and create the life she has always imagined. Today is one of those days she believes she may have overestimated herself. Layla tries to cover the obvious stitches on her ear by pulling her hair down. She hurriedly walks out of the hospital and hails a taxi. Upon entering, she realizes she has left her bag at the doctor's office. She is at her wit's end, just one more sad occurrence and she knows she will lose it. She runs back to the hospital to retrieve her bag. Iskender is grateful for the employment opportunity provided by the construction company. It has facilitated his transition from living in his van to a modest apartment. Despite facing adversity in life, from birth, he has persevered and acted diligently, contributing to his current status. Throughout his youth, Iskender encountered numerous obstacles. Nonetheless, he was resolute in surmounting them. As he lacked external support from his family, he has no family. His master, who he served in his youth, has instilled the importance of resilience and hard work through rigorous training, which equipped him with the necessary expertise for his present job. Iskender's hard work and acquired skills lead to his employment with a building construction firm in Istanbul, Turkey, the best in the city. He values the experience and is committed to maximizing it. Layla hastily gathers her belongings and hastens towards the exit, eager to hail a cab. As she approaches the swing door and enters, it refuses to budge, adding to her already challenging day. She struggles to mask her disappointment, determined to maintain a composed demeanor. Out of the blue, she senses a presence behind her and turns around to see an exceptionally handsome man staring back at her. He exudes a rugged charm that captivates Layla's attention instantly. Though she feels an urge to embrace him tightly, she manages to resist the impulse. To her surprise, the man offers her his arm and effortlessly swings the door open for her. Layla feels mortified and foolish for nearly hugging a stranger. As she walks away, she catches a glimpse of his smile and experiences a surge of delight. She's embarrassed. Layla surveys the tall building, ensuring she has the correct address before proceeding inside. Just as she approaches the entrance, two laughing children race past her. Gathering her resolve, she readies herself to knock on the door. However, before she can, a woman in her middle years opens it. Layla briefly considers abandoning her mission, but her determination steals her resolve. She has to finish this. With apprehension, she says hi to the woman, who studies her with suspicion. Layla introduces herself as her husband's girlfriend and apologizes. She could see the surprise spreading on the woman's face. She admitted he concealed his marital status from her. When she discovered the truth, he had assaulted her and injured her ears. She told the woman to tell her husband to stay off her. She observes the woman's shock, which makes her unable to speak, then averts her gaze. It begins to snow heavily. All she desires is to go to bed and forget the world exists. But the thought and face of that stranger is etched in her memory. Layla has been feeling better for a while now, and her busy job has helped her move on from her ex. She hardly ever thinks about the intriguing stranger she met. One day, while in her car outside the construction company where she works, Iras, one of her coworkers and friend, calls. The carpenter they hired for a client's new building has abandoned the project, and Layla decides to check it out herself. She contacts her dad to send workers from another branch to finish the job. Once inside, Layla updates Iran and informs him that someone will take over the job. Suddenly, the stranger from before walks in, dressed in his construction gear. She freezes when she sees him, realizing he's one of her dad's employees. Their eyes meet, and Layla feels a powerful connection with him. He smiles and gets to work, leaving Layla wondering if their encounter was just a coincidence. Iskender can't stop thinking about a vibrant and lively young lady he has met multiple times. Despite his attempts to push these thoughts away, they persist. Throughout his life, Iskender has experienced neglect and abandonment. He grew up alone, his mom left him as a child. Iskender connects women with his mother and predicts that they will disappoint him. However, he experiences an indescribable attraction to this young lady. The mere thought of her causes his heart to beat faster. Her scent has left a lasting impression on him, and he hopes to see her smile in his dreams. He has coincidentally run into her in unexpected places too many times. While driving, he witnessed a motorcyclist snatch a woman's purse. He was in his car and witnessed this through his rear mirror. He immediately chases the thief and retrieves the bag. Imagine his surprise when he discovered the woman whose bag was stolen was none other than his crush. Although his logical side tells him not to entertain romantic ideas, Iskender's heart refuses to ignore her allure. He is defenseless against the attraction he feels for her, despite the potential for heartbreak. Layla gets an invite from her girlfriends to chill out, and she dresses up to join them at a mobile bar near a building firm. While they're having a good time and giggling, a group of males stroll in, among them her crush. The ladies start to flirt with the males and Layla contemplates disguising from them but eventually decides to approach her crush. As she walks towards him, she senses his intense stare and his friends make an excuse to leave them alone. Iskender urges Layla to sit and pours her a drink, making a daring offer to drink it if she desires a romantic relationship or refuse it if she wants them to stay strangers. Fascinated by his boldness, Layla gulps down the drink. As she places the glass on the table, he pulls her face towards his lips and kisses her deeply. Layla has always desired an intense and impulsive love, and at last, she has discovered it in Iskender, who is her valiant warrior, her own personal Prince Charming. She is captivated by every aspect of him, from his mannerisms to his winsome grin. She finds him to be both tender and resilient. When they are together, time seems to pause, and nothing else holds significance except for the present moment shared between them. Her adoration and fondness for Iskender are evident in her glowing countenance, and her grin broadens with every moment they spend together. Friday morning, Selim enjoys a delightful breakfast with his spouse and 2 daughters. Although he had to cancel a business meeting, being with his family at this moment is worth the sacrifice. As he eats his meal, he observes his daughter Layla across from him. She's playing with her food and smiling like a child, which tells him she has found a romantic partner. The prospect of Layla entering another relationship scares him. While she is intelligent, she also loves with intense passion that can consume her. Her high school sweetheart, Mehmet, became her husband, and that marriage was a catastrophe. She then entered another relationship that shattered her completely. Selim recognizes that his daughter Layla shares his traits. They're both resolute and exceptionally devoted. However, he's determined to prevent her from repeating the same mistakes again. He knows how easy and impulsive she is. Selim interrupts Layla's thoughts, informing her of his desire to meet the man responsible for her happiness. As a father, Selim understands that it's his duty to protect his daughter's heart and ensure that she discovers the affection she deserves. Iskender is experiencing an intense fear as his biggest dread becomes a reality: commitment. Layla recently informed him of her father's interest in meeting him. Although Iskender had anticipated this, he never expected it to happen so soon. Despite the depth of his love for Layla, Iskender is avoiding any discussions that could lead to a binding commitment. He would willingly do anything for her, but he is concerned that if he commits, she might abandon him, as his mother did. Iskender recognizes that he is sabotaging himself, but it is a response to his trauma. It helps him feel safe. Another reason why Iskender is hesitant to promise commitment is because he does not want to meet Layla's family. Layla comes from a prominent, affluent family, while Iskender was raised in an orphanage after being abandoned by his mother. He fears that Layla's family might reject him. Layla is confused as to why Iskender is hesitant to meet her parents. Although she understands his love for her, his refusal is causing her to question their relationship. Distracted by her thoughts, she decides to surprise him at work. She intends to discuss his actions with him and uncover the root cause of his reluctance. Upon waking up in a hospital room, Layla finds herself surrounded by medical professionals. She struggles to recall the events leading to this moment but eventually remembers an argument with Iskender the previous day. She accused him of insincere affection and leading her on. Iskender hugged and kissed her, but she noticed his body tense and heart racing. Unexpectedly, Layla's father appears and sees her in Iskender's embrace. He becomes angry and demands Iskender surrender his badge and ID card and leave the work premises immediately. Iskender is silent, and Layla is left devastated. Overwhelmed by the shock of Iskender's dismissal, Layla loses consciousness and collapses. Her family and the medical staff come to her aid. After being discharged from the hospital, Layla's father has a discussion with Iskender. Iskender finally overcomes his fear of commitment and proposes to Layla, expressing his unwavering love for her. Layla's father is shaken by her recent fainting episode and realizes how fragile she is and how deeply in love she is. He gives his blessings to their union and hopes that their love will last forever, as his ultimate happiness lies in his children's happiness. Layla and Iskender are ecstatic to be engaged and begin planning their future together. They look forward to living together as husband and wife. Iskender and Layla celebrated their wedding in an intimate gathering attended only by close family and friends, with a focus on their love and commitment. They consciously decided on a humble ceremony as Layla had been married previously, and they believed that their marriage should be built on love, trust, and mutual respect rather than opulent displays of wealth. Layla glowed with excitement as she began her new life with Iskender. She was a vision of beauty in her white wedding gown, and Iskender was captivated by her slender form as she walked towards him down the aisle. He felt fortunate to have her as his partner, cherishing this momentous day. As they exchanged their vows, the couple felt joy and hope for their future together. They acknowledged that their journey as husband and wife would have challenges, but they were committed to growing together and overcoming them. They believed that their wedding marked the start of a lifelong adventure filled with love, happiness, and contentment. Iskender's business has grown significantly thanks to Selim's help. This sudden success, however, is causing Iskender anxiety as he is used to facing challenges and setbacks. Nevertheless, he is grateful for his wife Layla's support as they enjoy a happy and laughter-filled home life. Despite his apprehension, Iskender is grateful for Selim's contribution to the expansion of his business. Selim has opened new doors for Iskender by introducing him to new customers and expanding his revenue. This has enabled him to provide for his family and offer them a comfortable life. Iskender's personal life is also thriving. His wife Layla is his devoted and loving partner who has supported him through tough times. Their home is a place of joy, laughter, and love that provides Iskender with comfort amidst the uncertainties of life. Iskender is at his workplace today when his mother, Zeliha, suddenly pays him an unexpected visit. She had abandoned him in an orphanage at the tender age of 5, and Iskender does not consider her worthy of the title of mother. The sight of her awakens all of Iskender's suppressed memories that he has been trying to keep buried deep inside. Her arrival infuriates him as he knows that she has come once again to ask for money to fuel her addiction. Despite his resentment, Iskender decides to give his mother the financial assistance she requires. However, he fervently hopes that they never cross paths again, for he considers her dead to him. Over the last 48 hours, Layla had observed a notable change in Iskender's behavior. She sensed that he was troubled, but couldn't quite pinpoint the source of his distress. Despite her repeated inquiries, Iskender insisted that he was fine and that he was merely grappling with some unresolved feelings from his past. Layla was aware that Iskender had an unhappy childhood and grew up in isolation. On this particular day, Iskender took Layla to visit his mentor who had taught him his craft. Layla was taken aback by how frail and elderly the mentor appeared, but his eyes exuded a sense of command. The mentor dispatched Iskender on an errand, leaving Layla alone with him. It was then that the mentor disclosed a momentous revelation to Layla. Iskender's mother, Zeliha, was still alive. Layla was taken aback by the news, given that Iskender had informed her that his mother had passed away. Layla is still grappling with the discovery she made a few days ago. She has not discussed the matter with her husband yet since she lacks comprehensive information about what transpired between Zeliha and Iskender during his childhood. Iskender has been uncommunicative about it. Layla believes that her husband must confront his mother to achieve closure and forgiveness. Clinging on to resentments will only perpetuate bitterness and anger. She succeeds in locating the motel where Zeliha resides and decides to pay her a visit as the first move towards reconciliation. As Layla reaches the motel, she hears a clamor emanating from Zeliha's room. As she opens the door, she witnesses a man assaulting Zeliha, landing multiple blows to her face. Layla shrieks and flees the room as the aggressor chases her. Upon reaching a safe location, she contacts the authorities to request assistance in rescuing Zeliha. Upon receiving an urgent message to come to the hospital, Iskender feels a rush of anxiety and concern. He wonders what could have happened to prompt such a request and if his beloved Layla is alright. He hastily makes his way to the hospital while his mind runs through various possibilities. When Iskender arrives, he is surprised to see his mother waiting for him. Despite his confusion, he decides to approach her bed and sit down. His mother's eyes are filled with shame as she begins to speak about how her traumatic experiences led her to become an inadequate and absent parent. However, Iskender struggles to understand how this could justify a child. Back home, Layla has been feeling unwell. She has recurring migraines, brain fog, and body numbness. Layla reported her troubling symptoms to Iskender. He advised her to consult a physician. Taking his advice, Layla pays a visit to the doctor who conducted a thorough medical examination and recommended further testing to arrive at a conclusive diagnosis. She now awaits the results of the tests. She feels a sense of dread as she has the feeling something could be dangerously wrong. She expects to receive information about her condition soon. On a sunny afternoon, Mehmet unexpectedly visits Layla at her workplace, 3 years after their divorce. He expresses remorse and apologizes for his part in their marriage demise. Layla is surprised but willing to listen. As Mehmet speaks, Layla recognizes that she has moved on and discovered her true love. She forgives him, realizing their divorce was for the best. Layla informs him that she has found someone who truly cares for her and wishes him success in his future endeavors. The doctor repeats the diagnosis of CADISL, a rare form of dementia that causes senility. Layla is heartbroken and downcasted to hear this news, and she is too young to suffer from such a dilapidating disease. The doctor says that in weeks she may begin observing a decline. Layla will gradually lose her memories, starting with recent ones and eventually all her life experiences. Her ability to recognize faces may also diminish, and her cognitive abilities may be impacted. The thought of losing her memories is overwhelming for Layla. She had promised Iskender that she would always be there for him. But now she may be present physically, but without her memories. She feels shattered and helpless, wondering how Iskender would react when she forgets him. The idea of forgetting the names, voices, or faces of her loved ones is too much to handle. She feels like everything has been taken away from her. The future seems bleak, and she wonders how she can handle such a cruel fate. Iskender has become aware of his wife's frequent forgetfulness, from forgetting important dates such as her birthday to even missing out on meal preparations. This was further highlighted when she recently packed only 2 plates of rice instead of the usual rice and stew for him. He feels that there's more to this situation. His wife is hiding something sinister from him. To get to the truth, Iskender pays a visit to the medical practitioner. The doctor breaks the news of his wife's ailment to him, causing Iskender to feel overwhelmed. The constant fear he had suppressed all this while resurfacing. He concedes that his life, which he thought was perfect, may not be so after all. He is left questioning why he had to face this predicament. Despite the challenges he's facing, Iskender is determined to be supportive of his wife and remain by her side through her illness. Iskender is committed to easing his spouse's life and making the most of her consciousness. He promises to stand by her, regardless of her condition. He makes an effort to refresh her memories by inscribing directives and putting them in obvious locations throughout their home. He also labels food containers in the pantry to facilitate her navigation, and appends names to photos to help her recognize faces. He acknowledges the challenges associated with his spouse's condition and intends to maximize their time together. He cherishes their conversations and exchanging stories. His empathy and flexibility help him to appreciate that his spouse requires time to finish specific tasks, even as putting on a dress or washing her body. He desires for her to feel secure and cared for, confident in the knowledge that he is present to support her. Iskender has gone to great lengths to conceal the situation with Layla, but he now faces a serious dilemma. He worries that if her family become aware of the truth, they may take Layla away from him, which he simply cannot allow. While running a quick errand, Mehmet, Layla's former husband, visits their residence. Unfortunately, Layla's state has deteriorated to the point that she is unable to recognize Mehmet. This surprises her ex-husband as he didn't know she's sick. He tries to have a conversation, but she sounds disoriented. Upon Iskender's return, he discovers Mehmet's presence and becomes furious, confronting him. A physical altercation ensues, and in the commotion, Layla grabs a knife from the kitchen her husband had hidden in the cupboard and rushes to intervene. Tragically, she inadvertently injures her own husband. Selim is now forced to confront the reality that he cannot keep Layla's condition a secret any longer. Iskender was resolute in his stance to retain his position as her spouse and to stay by her side. Layla's parents spoke reason to him, stating that it would be in their best interest for her to be tended to and supported by her family. Being nursed by familiar faces could be therapeutic for her. After considerable thought, Iskender came to the realization that it would be in Layla's best interest to be reunited with her family, and he eventually conceded to their request. It was an arduous verdict, but he acknowledged that it was the most favorable decision. Iskender grieves his wife's daily mental deterioration, maintaining a resilient front to go by the day. Her ailment is the most traumatic incident he has ever endured, surpassing even his abandonment by his mother in childhood. Life has been unkind to him, as the one person he treasures above all else is gradually slipping from his grasp. He observes her cognitive abilities dwindling each day, and it shatters him to witness her wrestle with her mental health. He was called by Dafne, Layla's younger sister, to come to the house because his wife's case has massively deteriorated. She has been sick for a while, and bedbound. All the while, he hoped she got better. As he enters the room where his wife laid, he begins to tell her all the things she loved to listen to. Even though she was unconscious, he knew she could hear him. He pulled her to his chest, she passed on, and he cried in a loud voice. It's been 5 months and 3 weeks since his soulmate has passed away. Iskender is back from visiting her gravesite, which he does every day to update his wife on his life and express how much he wishes she were still with him. As Iskender takes a picture of Layla, he is reminded that their love was everlasting, and he will never give his heart to anyone else. Only she has captured it, and she always will. Iskender spends his days reflecting on their time together, feeling the void left behind by her absence. He recalls her laughter, her touch, and the love they shared. At night, Iskender lies in bed alone, gazing at the ceiling and dreaming of Layla. He yearns for her presence and the warmth of her embrace. However, even in her passing, he knows that her love will forever continue on within him. He will continue to visit her grave and honor her memory, for their love will always be immortal.